If you ever dreamed of fighting injustice with nothing but a bow, a questionable British accent, and Kevin Costner's 1991 hair, then today's episode is for you. Welcome back to Date Like the Movies. It's not just for Hollywood. The show where dating meets the movies and where we bravely ask the big questions like, is storming a castle the ultimate romantic gesture? Today we are diving into Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the movie that made archery sexy, tights confusing, and the Sheriff of Nottingham one of the most entertaining villains of the 90s. And joining me once again is my fabulous, one-of-a-kind cousin Madison, lover of chaotic characters, perhaps, defender of dramatic romance, and somebody that will let me know if she believes stealing from the rich for love is an acceptable love language. Madison, welcome back to Date Like the Movies. Good to have you back.
Thanks, Brent. Appreciate it.
I feel like last time we talked, it was all about ogres
Yeah.
and
I mean,
Shrek.
Robin Hood was also in that one, so
I'm thinking maybe you have a thing for like forests and swamps because there's a lot of similarities here between Shrek and Robin
yeah.
Hood. Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. I'm hooked.
Well, let's get into it.
Okay.
Chivalry, chaos. We can talk about questionable accents if we
Yeah.
choose. But for those that might not be as familiar with Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, here's the introduction into this early 1990s movie. After escaping imprisonment during the Crusades, Robin of Locksley returns to England with his companion Azim, played by the fabulous Morgan Freeman, only to find his home burned, his father murdered, and the ruthless Sheriff of Nottingham tightening his grip on the people. Determined to fight back, Robin heads into Sherwood Forest, gathers a band of outlaws, and becomes the legendary figure who steals from the rich and defends the poor. But woven into this rebellion is his deepening connection with Lady Marian, a noble woman who knew Robin before the wars. When he first returns, their reunion is tense. Marian is wary of Robin's impulsive nature and haunted by the violence consuming the kingdom. But as she witnesses his compassion for the oppressed and his willingness to risk everything for justice, that defensive skepticism slowly turns into trust. Their relationship grows in the midst of danger and chaos, secret visits, heartfelt confrontations, and moments of unexpected tenderness that stand in contrast to the sheriff's increasing brutality. Marian becomes a crucial ally to Robin, using her status to gather information and help the people he protects. The sheriff, determined to crush Robin and seize power, targets Marian as part of his political schemes, trying to force her into marriage and using her as leverage. This leads to the film's climax, a desperate rescue mission where Robin and his outlaws storm Nottingham to free Marian, stop the sheriff's violent ascent, and give the people hope again. Robin and Marian's bond, forged through hardship, loyalty, and shared courage, becomes a symbol of the better future they are fighting for. There we have it. Robin
Good
Hood,
synopsis. Yep.
Prince of Thieves.
hmm
Maddie, tell me now, you watched this just the other day,
Yeah.
right?
Literally
So
yesterday.
what's like, and I know this was a favorite of yours, growing
hmm
up when you were younger.
Yeah.
What's your instant take or reaction on the movie these days? If you just could sum it up in a few words, what would you
Um,
say?
Definitely when I was younger, I thought that Kevin Costner was pretty swoon-worthy. I don't know why, but I was just like, yeah, I think all the Robin Hood movies I've seen, I just really like his character. And so I felt that. And then years have gone by and I'm in nursing school, pretty busy. And then I watched it the other day and I was like, man, there's some cheesy parts in here. I mean, it's made in the 90s, but I think it is very much like chaotic love. Just a lot of action is predominantly what's going on in the movie. And so oftentimes you don't even focus on the love story that's happening. It's kind of in the shadows behind the scenes, but it's cute. It's fun. I enjoy it.
And that was one reason I love this pick for this podcast, Maddie, because it is different. It's
Mhm.
not what you expect. When I think of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and I have seen this movie many times over the years, I think of forests, I think of archery, I think of
Right, yeah.
storming the castle. I don't think of their relationship, but there is a relationship in this movie. And yeah, the cheesiness, it's there
Mhm.
uh, for sure.
Well, for
But I
sure.
find humor in that, and I think
Yeah,
it's I think it kind of adds to the movie in a way.
I think it keeps it pretty real. I mean, nothing's gonna be, like, perfect when it comes to saying the right thing at the right time, so it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Mhm.
All right, well, let's dig deeper into the relationship with
Okay.
Robin and Marian. Um, I feel like they just get thrust into it so fast.
Mhm.
Robin's been away in prison after the war,
Mhm.
comes home. Um, but do you buy into the chemistry they have, like as you're watching the film back?
I feel like, they definitely do have chemistry. I mean, you can see that in their, like, hidden moments away and other things like that, but I think it sets up a pretty good basis for them to have chemistry to blossom just because they're both in the same, situation coming to their homeland, and the sheriff of Nottingham is just plundered and pillaging everything, and they both have this ultimate goal to help the people. And so I think as they realize that from one another, they kind of start to have some chemistry blossom. Maybe the timing of it is a little rushed just because it's a movie. But I think that there's parts of it that, yeah, it could definitely be moments here and there where something's developing for sure.
I definitely agree with you on the rush part. It is
Yeah.
rush, but it's also a movie,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's more the norm
Mhm.
than not when you talk about relationships in movies. They've only got 2 hours. You got to pack a lot in,
We gotta make it
and
happen. Something's
and
gotta go.
yeah, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is a great example at
Mhm.
packing a lot of stuff in.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. For sure.
yeah, chaos, start to finish.
Mhm.
That's a good way to put it. Do you see them as being a classic case of opposites attracting, meaning, she's this noble woman, he's an outlaw. Do you see it
Right.
that way or not so much?
Um, well, they definitely grew up having different experiences. She even said, "I just knew you as a childhood bully, like, that's all I knew," and then he
Burned her
went.
hair. I think she
Yeah,
talks
burned
about
her hair too,
yeah.
like, this man, and or I guess boy, and then Robin had to leave with her brother to go fight the Crusades, so they had to go through this whole thing and being a prisoner during the wartime, and she's over trying to be a noble woman. She talks about how she doesn't wanna go to London, she wants to stay out in her parents' estate and help the people there, and that's where she thrives, but at the same time, the sheriff Nottingham is making it really difficult for her to do that. So they both have had their hardships, even though they're different. Robin Hood has to become really an outlaw, live in the woods, figure out how to make life work and stick to his moral compass. And she is still has her estate, and the sheriff sees that she's a little bit not with him, but not against him. And so she's trying to navigate that while still helping the people. So I think they have a lot of similarities that help with their differences of being an outlaw and a noble woman. But yeah, I can see that with opposites attracting.
I see them having shared values. Like you pointed out
Yeah,
initially, they do
that's true.
have shared values where, taking care of their people, uh, giving back to the poor, protecting those that maybe can't protect themselves.
Yeah,
And so I do see, even though maybe on the outside it seems like opposite attracting, I do think if you look deeper, they do have a lot in common as
yeah.
well. Speaking of Robin being an outlaw, do you think Mary is truly falling for Robin, or is she just falling for this outlaw fantasy? Because I feel like that's could be a
Yeah,
real thing sometimes where it's like, are you falling for
oh,
the
for sure.
person or just for kind of
Or
the
what they
situation that
kind
they're in?
of, yeah, are
Exactly.
projecting.
Yeah.
It could be a bit of both. I think the outlaw kind of label probably helps his case to make him a little more swoon worthy. Maybe that is something that she's like, "Okay, I see you." But at the same time, she still has her own experiences with him, and so at first, like you said, it was pretty tense. He's trying to give her a ring that, her brother's dying wish was to give that to her and make sure that she's protected, and so he's trying to do that. The only thing she remembers of him, despite him being an outlaw now, is that he was a bully that burned her hair, and she's like, "Yeah, no," and keeps trying to push him away, even though he is maybe cute and he has some good values and qualities. She's still pretty hesitant throughout the whole movie, even when she goes to visit him in Sherwood Forest and sees all this gold that they've been stealing from the rich. A part of her was like, and he even said, "You thought I was gonna keep all this." And she's like, I don't know." But that's her, I think her fine line is where, yes, it could be the outlaw fantasy, but she also is still she's still pretty true to herself in the fact that she doesn't let that overtake how she feels about him.
Yeah, I like that. I see her too as falling for. Um, you're right, how she didn't fall for him initially, but I
Mhm.
think throughout the movie, she sees in him growth and
Yes.
devotion
Uh-huh.
and some of those things. So even maybe initially there was some a la fantasy in there. By the time we get to the end of the movie, I believe it's much more than that.
Yeah.
Um, as I watched it back. All right, here's a tough question for you.
Okay. Shoot.
Um, Marion's, if you could just give one, her biggest green flag and her
Mhm.
biggest red flag, one of each. What are you going with?
Okay, let's think. Marion. She is such a funny, feisty gal. I love that she dressed up as a different person to fight Robin. Like, who does that? For her, something I really admire about her, her green flag, is that her position as a noblewoman, she does a very good job throughout the movie. Up until the end, she gets caught, but navigating the sheriff of Nottingham while also helping the people, sticking to her morals, but not letting that sheriff and other people dictate how she lives and what she stands for. So I think that's her green flag. As far as her red flag, I to think it was kind of crazy that even though she has tense feelings towards Robin when he comes back, um, that in order to prove a point that she doesn't need a man to protect her, she sends the guy of Gilderoy after him and like their men and they're shooting arrows at him like he could die. But she's like, "Yeah, go get him. I don't I don't need no man." So I'm like, ooh, that's
Oh,
a little crazy, but
I know that is crazy. Put it like that. It's at the end of the
yeah.
movie. They're getting married. At the beginning, she tries to have him killed.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, it's funny you mentioned that because was thinking about red flags for Marion, and I was thinking along the lines of she's very quick for physical confrontation. I know
Yes.
it's done to someone in a humorous way often, but
Yeah.
she attacks Robin. He doesn't know it's her, right? Because
Right.
she's dressed up in this armor suit.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, she attacks him first time they meet in the movie. Then, okay, this one was probably they had it come in, but when she gets ambushed when she visits Sherwood Forest
Oh, yeah.
with her friend, she holds
Uh-huh.
a knife to one of those guys' throats,
Yeah.
which again, she was ambushed, okay, but she
That's
does go
true.
for the knife. And then to your point, sending a posse after Robin, I'm like, okay, she's got to calm down a little bit with the physical acts of violence, I think.
She's a little aggressive. It might be because her hometown's in peril, but yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure she's got her reasons.
it's very true.
Now, on Robin's side, do you see him as being heroic or reckless
I mean,
or
in order
both?
to be a yeah, I mean, in order to be a hero, you do have to take some risks, and he is shows that he's more than capable of doing that or willing to do that for the people. Some of the risks that he does and the scenes are a little bit cocky, like when he's sitting on the tree stump and then he pickpockets the man and does a backflip. You're like, "Okay, what was the reason?" But, um his ultimate goal is to help the people and restore peace while King Richard is gone. That makes him more of a hero, but he does have sometimes where he's pretty reckless in order to make that point.
You bring up an interesting point around cockiness and the
Mhm.
topic there. What do you see as the difference between cockiness and arrogance versus someone who's confident?
I think someone who is confident does not feel the need to prove it to other people. They know who
Hmm.
they are and they know what they stand for. And cockiness or arrogance is when people are deep seated, they're very insecure, and so they feel the need to show how how great they are, how cool they are, and what they can do. And confident people don't need to do that. So,
Hmm. It's like they're confident in themselves
mhm.
that they don't need to show it off
Yeah.
because they're confident with who they are. And I like the way you said that.
Mhm.
What about the topic of trauma? Did you see any elements in the movie where trauma affects the relationship between Marion and Robin?
Probably the whole movie, but, um, they're just going through a lot constantly. It doesn't seem like they
Uh,
really get a break to court each other or really date like normal people would, and so they have their moments of
it's an
just, like, hiding.
understatement.
Yeah, right? And so they're just constantly getting little, moments with each other throughout it, and they do bond over that and have their moments, especially in Sherwood Forest. I think that's when they're able to be the most vulnerable with each other, and Robin's able to talk about his dad being murdered and how that affects him when he was off to war, and I think at the beginning of the movie, they make it clear that his dad didn't really agree with him leaving for the Crusades, but he loved his son and he just wanted him to come back home, and so he felt bad about leaving on not maybe the greatest of terms, having his last goodbye, Marian talking about uh, King Richard leaving and her trying to juggle her life and what her family expects of her while trying to live her morals. It's a lot of trauma and a lot of things going on when you have Alan Rickman just constantly throwing a tantrum and sending people after them, but they make do. They try,
Oh,
so
he was a great villain.
he's so
Great
good.
villain.
Yeah.
Some classic lines in there from Alan Rickman.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I believe throughout the film he's got survivor's guilt a bit
Yes, yeah.
because Marion's brother was with him.
Yeah.
His name is Peter,
Yes.
and he dies as they're escaping, and has to deliver that news back to Marion. Uh, that'd be tough.
That's not
That would
good for a
be
state, I don't think. Yeah.
no. That would be yeah. So you're right. I think throughout the movie there's a lot of elements from trauma on
Yeah.
both sides. Let's talk about one of my favorite segments we do on the podcast. Date that movie.
Alright.
Yes, let's do it. This is
Let's
where,
do
as
it.
you remember from last time, we plan dates inspired by the movie.
Mhm.
Maddie, you want to go first for us?
I think one that we talked about, a little bit is how there's a lot of action in this movie, doing something along those lines, maybe going on a horseback ride or going, shooting. I mean, they don't really have guns, but they have bow and arrows. Just maybe something that's an activity that's outdoors, because most of this just takes place outdoors. Maybe in their case, even, like, actual combat, because she, like, fights him pretty hard at the beginning too. And he just got back from war, so that might be good for the both of them. But no, just something active, outdoor, that's fun, and gives you time to be
Would
able to talk and get to know each other.
Would you like a date like that if it was horseback riding and archery? Is that your
Yes,
style?
I would.
Yeah,
I'm very
yeah.
much that type of person. I mean, growing up in Idaho, I'm constantly outside and doing things, and it's great. It's good fun for me.
You're like the new age Lady Marian. Maybe I shouldn't say
Yeah.
that, but no. Um, yeah, I had a couple ideas too. Horseback riding was one of them. I had
Oh,
this
okay.
idea for a date, uh, horseback riding
Mhm.
to a secluded spot for a picnic. Because you're right, they're
Yes,
outside
yeah.
a lot, and so you
Mhm.
that's kind of a way to get to I think a horseback riding with a picnic. There's one
Yeah.
idea. I was also thinking about the end of the movie
Yeah.
with that, Marion's being forced to marry the sheriff of Nottingham, and
Mhm.
Robin and the Outlaws are trying to free them, and not just her, but the rest of those that got captured earlier in the film.
Mhm.
An escape room date.
Oh, yeah. Tha that's so
I've never
funny, but
done an
yeah, that's
escape room. I've
probably
never done one myself, but I
Oh,
think
you
it'll be
haven't?
fun. And no, I've never. And this movie
Oh,
inspired that for me. So
they're so fun. But yeah, that
yeah.
actually would be so good for this movie. I like that idea.
And then my third idea.
Okay.
is a medieval times dinner. You could do it yourself if
This is
you
true.
were really into it and wanted to do the whole theme and buy props or make stuff and
Mhm.
see what food that you ate back then. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But
Yeah.
there are some places too that actually you can go
They
and it
do.
is like a medieval times dinner and you might be able to
Yes.
depending on where you live, maybe there's a
There
local
there's
spot.
one in Vegas at the
What?
Excalibur Hotel that looks like, Lord Farquaad's castle from Shrek back in there, but they
On
have
purpose? Like
jousting.
is it intended to look like his castle?
I don't know if it's intended to do that,
Okay.
but I think it's just like a castle, like, to be medieval because in a part of the hotel, they have a place my parents and my sister have done this, I haven't yet, but they
Oh,
have jousting and knights, and each, like, table up in the stands gets a knight that they're cheering for, and they feed them a medieval meal, and you get to watch them joust, so
I'm sold.
yeah.
I'm sold. That sounds like
I
a lot of
really need
fun.
to do it. I almost did this past, winter, but I haven't yet.
I wonder if there's a spot closer to me. I'll have to
Yeah.
look this one up because that
Right.
does yeah, that does appeal to me. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we just gave a whole bunch of dating ideas. So if anyone needs some dating ideas, watch Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and you'll be good for a year. So,
Yeah, you'll be set. Yep,
yeah,
for a little bit.
exactly. Dating lessons from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Are there some relationship lessons from the movie that you view still holds up well today?
One that I really admire is even though Marian sent Guy of Gilderoy after Robin because she's like, "I don't need a man to protect me," he still respected that she was a noblewoman and where she was at in life, and his way of protecting her was respecting her and helping her to be free from the Sheriff of Nottingham, and so he didn't feel this need to be all up in her grill all the time. I mean, initially, maybe he's like, "I need to stay here. I need to protect you." And she's like, "No, don't do that." And once she said that and he realized how she was, he kind of kept his distance, but he still made sure to check in on her in his own way. So I liked that,
Yeah,
not being
good one.
overbearing. Second chances are also something that this movie teaches just because she does have tense relations with him. He was a bully. She only knew him when he was a kid, and she's like, boy, you, I would not think is cute, but maybe this new version of you has a chance. And so she kind of allows the chemistry to deepen. Like you said, she watches to see if he's grown and looks for consistency in his values and affections, and he starts to show that. And so she's able to have a better relationship with him than what she had before.
I love that one um, because I viewed it the same way. Speaking of second chances,
Mhm.
uh, where a great takeaway lesson for me from this film is people can change.
Mhm.
However, it's done through actions, not words and promises.
Yes.
Strongly believe that actions is truly what speaks of when someone's changing or improving. And
Yeah.
through this film, it's a crash course from fighting each other to getting married. It's just
Mhm.
wild when you think of it in those terms. But he does change. She sees it in him,
Mhm.
and it's through his actions that she sees it.
Yes.
Another
Yeah.
takeaway I had is that this goes back to shared values
Mhm.
because I believe shared values matter more than initial chemistry.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that's a good takeaway from this film.
Mhm.
And then speaking of trauma and people being wounded,
Yes.
that can strengthen a relationship when a couple is willing to support each other through those
Yeah.
moments that they experience. So there might not be a ton of that in the film,
Mhm.
but that was something I thought of as I was thinking about the movie.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they both, like we talked about, had their own personal hardships and things that they went through. But yet they didn't allow that to be the defining factor of who they were. They were willing to support them with that. And then they also had a moment when you were talking about shared values where um I just remember this, but Marion was like, "What do you want out of life?" And he's like, "I want a family, I want a home, I don't want this for the rest of my life." He wanted different things out of his life, and so they were able to talk about hopes and dreams for the future, see if those aligned with each other, which is important.
Questions like that are so important to
Yeah.
ask because those are the things that, um, you obviously don't want to be identical to somebody that you're in a relationship with. It's good to have some differences and such, but there are
Mhm.
certain topics and certain things that you do need to be aligned in for a healthy, successful, long-term relationship. Let's dig into Robin Hood a bit more
Okay.
specifically. Do you see his fighting for justice an attractive trait in dating today?
I think it's a very commendable trait to have, someone who's driven to do what's right. That can be a little exhausting because that means that they have to put themselves usually in a lot of hard places. They might be gone a lot trying to make sure that those goals are met. But I definitely think it's a good trait to have, someone that's constantly wanting to make things right and make the world a better place.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff. You talked about Mary and Robin dating. Were they ever dating in the movie? I don't know if they actually ever were dating, but they got
No.
married at the end. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
No, I don't think they
I
dated.
know. They just, yeah, they're just like, you know what, let's just get married.
You're
And then
like, "You
Sean
know what?
Connery.
It's
We
been
have a Sean
hard."
Connery appearance at the end of the.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just thinking about that randomly. Uh, okay, here's a question for you.
Okay.
Would you ever date someone who lives in the forest full time?
Full time like a mountain man?
Like, yeah, you well, like I mean, those outlaws, that was their home. They lived in
That's
Sherwood Forest.
true.
Yeah, you know,
That is very true. I mean, I
Little
live in
John and the whole
Alaska
group.
during the summer months,
Oh,
to, like, tour guide and stuff, and there's a lot of those mountain men that are there, but normally they're there for a reason. They kinda wanna get away from everyone and everything. Um, but, I mean, marrying someone who's out in the woods alone, or even if they have a ton of friends like Robin Hood did, that means that they're pretty resourceful. So they've got some good skills up their sleeve. So it would be
I like
nice.
I like the way you spun that. Yeah,
Yeah.
into a when I asked the question, I felt like I wasn't saying it in a very positive way, but you did a good job spinning that one.
Thank you, thank you.
Plus, I believe you just compared Alaska to Sherwood Forest,
Um,
which I hadn't thought of before.
I think yeah, England and Alaska may be a little different. They're both pretty rainy. I think Azim is
Okay.
like, "Where's the sun in this place?" Like, he's used to a desert.
It's
Yeah.
funny you mentioned Alaska though, because you explained it as they're there because they wanna get away from people.
Mhm.
Uh, the reasons are a bit different, but the outlaws are in Sherwood Forest because they're trying to get away from getting caught. Well,
That's
it's a little
true.
different, but there's some similarities
That
there.
is
Yeah.
true, yeah. Different
Yes.
circumstances, different types of people, why they're in the woods, but
Exactly.
yeah.
I will never think of Alaska the same way again.
It's a beautiful place, you should definitely go.
Yeah,
I love it.
I should. Yeah, if they've got hey, you know what? If they've got medieval times up there, I'll come, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean
Let's talk about the climax.
okay,
The end of the movie, Robin and his outlaw men have dwindled. Many of them were captured, and so
yeah.
there's only a few of them left.
Mhm.
And Marion, um, gets gets taken and, right, forced to marry the sheriff. So then they storm Nottingham Castle, Robin and his band of outlaws. How do you feel about grand gestures such as that? Such as storming Nottingham Castle?
It's pretty hot. I'm just kidding. It's
I
I
mean,
think it's I mean, if someone were storming a castle for me, and it was the guy that I was actually attracted to, and I was being forced to marry this horrible person, it's pretty good. I'd be pretty happy. But
yeah, it is a
I guess it depends on the grand gesture. Sometimes guys do big grand gestures without knowing what the woman that they are trying to attract likes. And so sometimes it's a little bit much for them and it's kind of a turn off and they're like, no, like, yeah, they're just not really, it's not the right moment. but I think if it's a grand gesture done because they know what, um, the person that they're pursuing likes, and so they're trying to do this big grand thing to show them how much they care about them and that they value what they value, then I think it's better. I like that.
So you're saying it depends.
Yes. Yeah. You
Okay.
see that in nursing school all the time, but yeah, it depends.
It depends. Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
Grand gestures have a place, certainly, and they're nice, like you said, for certain occasions, for certain times. But it also can't replace just the daily acts of
Yeah.
thoughtful acts of simple kindness, and those types of things um, are, I think, critically important, for relationship
Mhm.
and to let someone know that you care about them.
Yeah.
You can't just be a grand gesture person. You need to have,
Mm. Yeah.
the simple daily acts of love and kindness, I think, too. So,
Yeah, there needs to be
yeah.
consistency in order for security and love to actually
Yep.
foster. So
Yep. Consistency, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
mhm.
But storming a castle for you, especially to your point, if you're being forced to marry this awful person, that's like the ultimate gesture,
Yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
saving you from this awful thing and then, yeah, putting your life at risk. It's just,
no wonder she
um,
married him at the end. I
that's
mean,
true. I mean, how can you pass that up? You can't
yeah,
pass that
I
up.
mean, who would in their
I
right
know.
mind?
I know. It's like, I don't have to date him. He just
He
saved me at storming
literally
the
risked his
castle. Forget
life,
it.
and
We're
he
getting
wants me?
married. Yeah.
Perfect. Done deal.
All right, let's go on to some rapid fire speed dating questions. Got a
Okay,
couple for you.
my favorite.
Best character in the movie. Who are you going with?
Azim. I love
Oh,
how sarcastic and funny that he is. He doesn't let Robin get cocky for 1 second. He just is like he shows his devotion to him, but he also keeps it real, and I like that about him.
he's got also this witty humor
Yes.
in the movie with some also good lines,
Mhm.
and he is completely devoted. His whole thing is Robin saved his life, so he has to say Robin's. It's like
Yep.
his theme,
Yeah.
so he never leaves his side.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and that was my pick,
Oh,
was
good.
Azim,
Yeah.
as
Azim's
well
great.
as if I was going for my favorite character. I do want to give a honorable mention though to the sheriff of Nottingham
Oh
because
my
we've
gosh,
already talked.
so
I mean, he
good.
is so good. It's over the top, but that's what makes it good, in my opinion.
Yeah,
The way he was playing it, and I don't know if this is true or not. I'll have to fact check it,
yeah.
but I had heard a lot of his lines were improvised. Um,
I feel like he's the type of person to do that for sure.
Makes it even better, in my opinion, because then
Yeah.
he's so into the character. He's just like making these lines and
Yeah, and some of the
and
camera
uh,
angles, I think when he's, like, staring at the prisoners, his face is, like, halfway turned and he's just yelling, and you're like, "What is going
yeah,
on?"
yeah. Yep. Do you have a favorite movie quote?
I do, and it is the Sheriff of Nottingham when he's
Yes.
yelling at Robin, when he, cuts his face at the church and stuff like that. He yells at him, he's like, "I'm gonna cut your heart out with the spoon," and you're like, "What?" Like, who says that? And even his cousin or the guy in Gilderoy is like, "Why a spoon, cousin?" And he's like, "'Cause it's dull and it will hurt more." Like, I know what I'm saying. It's just funny.
And the voice he says that in too is
Yeah.
I can't even try to emulate it, but
I know. He's just
it's so
yelling the
good.
whole movie.
It will hurt more or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Because it will hurt more. I mean, his
Yeah.
Snape kinda comes out a little bit, but yeah, he's funny.
Another line from him is when he says, oh, what is it? Like, Christmas is canceled or something like that, where
Oh,
he's upset about something and he says
yeah.
Christmas is canceled. Yeah. It's like, what is he talking
He
about?
just has a lot of good lines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A few lines I liked, going back to Azim,
Mhm.
this is a line I really like that he says, which I believe in it. He says,
Mhm.
a wise man once said, there are no perfect men in the world, only perfect intentions.
Oh,
Yeah, he
I missed
sneaks
that
that
one.
one in there. Yeah, he
Yeah,
sneaks that
I
one in
like
there. I
that.
liked that. And then here's a back and forth I liked between Marion And Robin,
Mhm.
she says, "How is it that a once arrogant young nobleman has found contentment living rough with the salt of the earth?" And the Robin Hood says, "I've seen knights in armor panic at the first hint of battle, and I've seen the lowliest unarmed squire pull a spear from his own body to defend a dying horse. Nobility is not a birthright, it's defined by one's actions."
That's a great one.
I thought that was a great one too. This movie
Yeah.
has all kinds of great quotes. It's got humorous ones, it's got
Mhm.
thoughtful ones, serious ones. It
Yeah,
kind of hits all the categories in terms of
it's
good quotes.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next rapid fire hot seat question.
All right.
Would you survive in Sherwood Forest?
Um, I would like to say I would last a little while, like, at least give it a good
Okay.
go. I grew up I well, I don't know if I grew up watching this, but, have you seen the show Alone, where they go to, like, Canada or Alaska, these, like, contestants do, and they have to survive out for as long as they can? I would hope
I'm
I'd,
from
like, have
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I
enough
haven't seen it.
yeah, enough resourcefulness just to at least try and live, out in the woods. It helped that Robin had a lot of people to help him out, like,
Hmm.
a lot of hands make light work, and so they were able to build, um, these tree houses and a pulley system to get water and get food, lots of things, so, I mean, if I had some other people out there with me, it'd be good, but yeah.
What's your favorite scene in the movie?
Oh, my favorite scene in the movie? Oh, it depends on because like we talked about, there's a lot of good action scenes, there's a lot of good romantic scenes as well. One that I'm thinking of that's a little more fun and flirty is when Robin is showing Maid Marian Sherwood Forest, what they've done, how they're trying to help the people, and then they have archery going on, and Wolf, I think, is the younger kid of, John Little, is shooting, and he outshoots his dad, and then Robin tries to get cocky and is like, "But can you do it under distraction?" And he, like, touches his ear and he misses. And Marian's like, "That's not fair. Can you?" And then she, like, breathes in his ear and he completely misses, even worse than the kid did. And so I
Hmm.
thought that was a fun scene they threw in there.
Yeah, that's good. That is important for relationships too, is just having the playfulness. And I felt like
Yeah.
that was a good scene that demonstrated the playfulness that they could have between each
Mhm.
other.
Yeah.
It's similar, in fact, to my favorite scene, which is, and I think this is probably the biggest reason why I liked it when I was younger,
Mhm.
the movie, building the tree houses and when they're making their fortress or whatever that you call it.
Mhm.
I loved that because to me that was like the dream tree house.
Yeah.
They were making,
Yeah.
it was awesome. I was like, man, they got bridges going across from like, tower to tower.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just love that scene when they're like working together and they're
That's cool.
as a group and they're building their base camp or whatever you call it.
Mhm.
I don't even know what you
Yeah.
call it, but it was
Their
pretty
home
sweet.
base. Yeah.
Yeah, home base, yep, yep.
Mhm.
Which I think it's around the same time as we had um, that archery
Yeah.
scene that you're referring to. Speaking of archery, bow and arrow on a first date, yes or no?
Yeah. At
Okay,
least for me, yeah.
all right. Well,
I like a little
all right.
bit of, like, competition, having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it allows for more playful banter, and I also think while you're having competition, it's a fun activity where you can still talk and get to know each other better, but yeah,
Yeah,
I like it.
good. Is stealing for good hot or problematic? If you think of,
Problematically
yeah.
hot. It's
Okay,
it's
all right.
definitely, like, not ideal, someone stealing all the time if that's their only way of well, in Robin's case, it was different, but if it's that's your only means of getting money or resources or things like that, it's gonna make it a little bit hard, for sure. Um, but stealing, I think in his case, was their last resort. There was nothing else they could do. They had killed a lot of deer in the forest. Like Wolf, the little kid, had said he'd killed hundreds of them. They're just trying to survive at that point. And so even though it made things difficult, especially for Robin and Marian's, like, case. Like, he was constantly a target, and she was trying to not draw attention to herself while doing good. It is a little problematic, but I can understand why he did it, so it's hard.
What would you want the theme song to be for your ideal relationship?
That's such a good question. I feel
This
like
question comes from the idea of Bryan Adams' song
right.
in the movie
Everything
is "Everything I
I do it
Do."
for
Yep,
you.
exactly. Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a theme.
Mhm.
I guess it would just depend on the person who I ended up what, like, the theme of our relationship is, like, what we are kinda going through. The guy that I'm currently dating, I asked him this question, and he said, "Hit me, baby, one more time," because I constantly am hitting him because he teases me all the time, like, nonstop, so, yeah. So, I mean, that was funny, but I think
I like
something
it.
that is, like, an inside joke between a couple.
I prepped for this episode by listening and watching the music video, "Everything I Do It For
Yeah.
You" by Bryan Adams, and it was pumping me up. I was excited, energized for this episode because I had his song going through my mind and watching it. That was good. Good stuff. Yeah, final segment on Day
Okay.
Like the Movies is called After the Happily Ever After, which is where we discuss the likely outcome or thoughts on the future of the relationship once the credits start rolling. So, if there was a next step that we don't see,
Mhm.
do you think Robin and Marian would last in today's world, 2026, uh, or not so much?
I mean, if Robin was stealing all the time, maybe not.
I love the logic. I can see your brain just going through. Yeah, it's not
I'm
going to
like
work.
um, I mean, they both still have their shared values. I think as a couple, they would be okay, but they also were put in a situation where they had to fight for what's right constantly, and so it would depend on if they were in today's world and they felt that need to constantly do what's right, or if they just wanted to be secluded and have their own family and kinda live out in their own little oasis or their own forest or whatnot, but I guess it would depend on how they'd feel about things going on today.
It depends. Like I
Yeah.
said earlier, it
Yeah, I'm
depends.
sorry.
No,
It really does.
that I mean, I feel like that's a good answer for this question though, because it does depend. Like, yes, I would say yes, it would work out if they continue to build trust, continue
Mhm.
to have open communication, and they don't just rely on the grand gestures, or they don't just
Yeah.
rely on, um, the circumstances that they had in the movie. But of course, there's a chance. Just like anything, there's a chance it wouldn't work out either. If you could pick a sequel of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, like where would
Oh,
you go with this sequel?
I don't even know. I think I probably would have something to do with their kids, and they weren't the main focus of it, or even
Hmm.
Robin Hood's so-called brother could be his becoming a man story. I don't know. That would
How
be
about
neat.
Sheriff of Nottingham has some descendant who comes back in
Oh,
and is
yeah.
crazier than the sheriff was
You're
and
so
wants
right.
to
Yeah, that would
evoke
totally happen.
revenge and just is all about revenge.
Round
Uh,
2. Mhm.
and so Robin and Marion trying to live peacefully, right? They've moved on, and this new sheriff's in town. He's like, nope, not gonna happen,
Yeah,
and chaos and confusion for a sequel.
yeah.
So
I think that's a great one. I think they could totally do that.
yeah, we need to pull this off. And you know what? I feel bad now because we're at the end of the podcast and we didn't even mention Will Scarlet,
Oh, yeah.
who is
Yeah. That was
one.
quite the, like,
Yeah,
crazy scene for me when I was younger watching it. Just yeah,
which
that
scene?
switch up with him.
Referring
The one
to?
where he refers that he's his brother or,
Oh yeah,
like
yep,
yeah, I just was not focusing on that at all. I feel like there was already so much going on that was I just got blindsided by that.
yeah. And he is one character who can't stand Robin at first,
Yeah.
but then eventually he is captured
Mhm.
and then gets released because he's going to help, find Robin or kill him because he can get close to him. Um, but then he ends up going to Robin, and there's this good line in here: is he wants to know if he's going to finish what he started. and
Mhm.
then he becomes one of those last few outlaws who try and storm the castle and
Yeah.
whatnot. But
Mhm.
yeah, he was a good character.
He is good.
Yeah. Well, Maddie, thanks so much for joining me on this episode to
Of
discuss Robin
course.
Hood, Prince of Thieves. Yep, it was fantastic to have you back. We'll have to figure the next movie will be something about a swamp or forest,
It
and we'll have you
has to
back.
be.
Keep that theme going. Thanks so much to our listeners for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Date Like the Movies. Until next time, my friends, keep dating. Thanks so much.